Welcome to Evolution Revolution. It is such a pleasure to have you with us today. I'm really thrilled, and I am Susan Allan. I'm the host of the show. And as you know, if you've been watching me on television any part of the last 9 years in Santa Barbara, you know that the purpose of the show, my mission, my sole mission in life, is to discover breakthroughs that really work in personal transformation. Skills, tools, and people who will support you and allow you to reach all of your goals to inner peace, joy, health, success, all of the above. You deserve it, you've earned it, there's no reason in the world for you not to have it. You know that I offer the Heart Space Systems skills and that I'm the founder of the Marriage Forum Incorporated. And I think by now you probably know that I offer a 1-hour telephone session so you can find out if the tools that I offer are for you. And in every show we have what I consider at least to be a really fascinating guest who's discovered something that's new, that's unique, and that makes an enormous difference. So today I want to tell you all about my guest, Iman Hamid, and I'm so thrilled to have you here.
Hello, Susan. Good to meet you. I'm glad to be here.
Wonderful. So now I'm going to tell them everything about you.
Go ahead.
Okay. So, Iman is originally from Iran. He began with an education in engineering and computer sciences. He began working for a Fortune 500 company and later moved into consulting for the health and wellness industry. His metaphysical education includes Qigong, Tai Chi, Buddhism, Sufism, Christian meditation, and many New Age practices. He's an eternal student and a teacher, and he's on a self-healing spiritual journey. And 7 years ago, he and his brother founded Healing Pack. And today we're going to be speaking really mostly about what he and his brother do with Healing Pack. It's a nonprofit corporation, and the purpose is to spread the art and science of energy healing and connecting to the divine. So I'm really excited because everything that Iman teaches is something that is dear to my heart and among the most important things that I do, not only with every day, but that I've been doing for, all these years. We could say thousands of years, right? So I know that I'm going to learn at least a few things that I don't know, and that's always really exciting too. So the unique gift today, Iman is going to be teaching us how to connect more deeply with the divine. I know you want to know that. That's the key because everything comes from that source. And as we connect with greater love, more gratitude, more inner peace, the results, the flow to us only increases, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, good. So the first thing I want to know about is exactly what you teach. And of course, we could do this for 6 hours, but we only have a little bit under an hour today. Exactly what you teach about connecting with the divine.
Absolutely. Hello, dear viewers. My name is Iman. I'm very happy to be here meeting Susan in the beautiful Santa Barbara and also at your service. Every single one of us, every single person has a unique connection to divine and divinity. This connection is through the heart. As we have come to this earth and on this life, one of the tasks that we have engaged in is trying to figure out what everything is about and how we can take our connection and capabilities and all that good stuff that we know we have inside of us and use that to improve the quality of our lives, maybe the lives of others, maybe the earth in totality, all of that good stories and all of that good ideas that we want to have. In order to do any of that, we have to really start with ourselves. The idea is really simple. Our body, our physical body, is a container, just like this glass of water. Whatever we fill in this glass is going to fill it up and it's going to flow out. So If we learn to fill ourselves up with our love, with our joy, with our peace, with our connection, naturally that's going to come out. The challenge is, how do we do this? How do we go about it? And it's really not a challenge. We're going to cover it and we're going to go through this stepwise approach that we talk about. And I'm really excited to be talking about this with you.
Okay, perfect. So you have something you call foundation or foundations.
Yes.
And the first part of it, we want to hear.
Excellent.
Tell me.
Healing Pack is a non-profit educational institute, as Susan explained. The whole purpose of it is to teach how to practice self-healing. Self-healing is simply about using the energies that we have within us and around us to go to our natural state of being, which is the state of love, joy, peace, and compassion. We were born in that state. When you look at a little baby, all that comes across from that baby is love. The majority of time. I understand there are exceptions and there are disasters and that, but the average person, when you go to a little baby and you go goo 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 goo, they start laughing, so on and so forth. When they sleep, they're in total peace. So that state of love, joy, peace, and compassion is really our natural birthright. And we can flow with that all the time. So that's where we want to go. How do we go about it? Self-healing, the way we teach it, which is a combination of some different methodologies that we're going to talk about, it has three foundations. The very first one is breathing.
Can you lead us through that?
Yes. The breathing, the air is necessary for the body, not only to survive, but also a lot of times to keep us in the state that we wish to be. A lot of times we have got used to stopping to breathe. The breathing, if you know, Susan has told me that the good viewers of Evolution Revolution are very advanced, and a lot of you good people know
now
different
you have to
techniques.
make sure you don't disappoint me with this, guys.
If you know any breathing technique, you're most welcome to use that. If you would like to learn about the technique that we call Yahoo.
Yes, we do, because most of us do yogic breathing. So we do, breathing from the stomach, and we do all that. But I'm really interested to hear a new one, a different one.
The breathing technique that we talk about or call Yahoo is simply breathing in through the nose and breathing out through the mouth. And I invite you to do this. I invite you to practice with me. I've been doing this throughout as we have been preparing for this. So breathe in through the nose and breathe out through the mouth. There is a part of switching off the tongue that I'm not going to cover this time right now because I don't want to complicate things. The idea is not breathe this way or that way or whatever. The idea is simply become aware of your breathing. Once you become aware of it, once you notice it, it will adjust to the way that it needs to be, and with practice it improves. Yahoo is the name of God in certain Abrahamic religions, and it's spelled Y-A-H-U, not the good old Yahoo company, but they're very similar. And basically, we're going to just keep practicing that technique. Breathing through your nose, please, and out through the mouth.
And you do it very subtly, so nobody really notices.
Exactly.
Which
what
is
happens
great.
is, meditation is great. Meditation used to be, I go on top of the mountain, I sit in the lotus position, and I do this and that.
Yes.
And that was great, but that
Yes.
was for a different time.
Yes.
These times, you and I, everybody who's here, we are living in a Western society. One of the key factors we emphasize in is whatever techniques we use, it has to be integrated into daily life. And I breathe 24/7. So in a meeting,
So true.
I can just do this breathing technique.
That's so brilliant, because one of my comments, I've had, you guys know that I've worked with thousands and thousands of people, and among the most unhappy people I ever worked with, which surprised me, were Westerners who had been trained in Buddhist chanting. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't understand, why would someone who's gone to the effort of learning Buddhist chanting and practicing Buddhist chanting and doing all the seva and all that, why would these people be so unhappy? And I realized it's because you can't do Buddhist chanting at the office. You can't do it, in a conference room. You can't do it when you're ready to present to your, the client or potential client. So the tragedy of being limited to Buddhist chanting, or obviously any chanting, is that it's not practical.
For certain situations.
It's just not practical,
exactly.
yeah. So this is great because this is a breathing technique that I love, and I'm only meeting you, for the first time today. But I love it because, Eamon's been doing it for the last half hour or so, and I'm telling you, I did not notice. And that's high praise indeed.
And may I also add that if for whatever reason you cannot breathe in through the nose or out through the mouth, or if your body guides you to do it differently, by all means, adjust it to what your body and you are telling yourself to do.
Right.
The best person who knows what works for you is you. So use that.
Great.
Like if I have a cold and my nose is all stuffed up, I'm just going to use the mouth. If I cannot open my mouth because I have to have it closed, I'm just going to do it through the nose. But simply in through the nose, out through the mouth, and that's it.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
You're most welcome.
I know that the second foundation is about love and gratitude.
Yes.
Or, as we all learned from Dr. Emoto, there's a Japanese word, love gratitude.
Yes.
Who knew, right? So tell us about that technique.
So the first foundation, breathing. The second one is a love-based prayer or thought. What I'm talking about is that we have been gifted with our brain as a fantastic, powerful organ. The function of the brain is to think. And by birth and by learning and by practice, by schooling, by society, we have practiced this so much that it has become really good at it. Sometimes too good at it, to a point that it just jumps all over the place, the expression monkey mind, and it's all over the place and it's worrying about this and it's doing that, so on and so forth. So a lot of times as we sit to calm ourselves down, to calm our beings down, so on and so forth, people recommend don't think. To be very honest with you, I have never been able to not think because the function of my brain, this organ, is to think. So an alternative way is pick yourself a love-based prayer or thought, preferably one that includes the word love and it's short. Plant that as a seed into your mind and keep repeating it like a mantra. The one that is very popular with a lot of clients is, I love me. And at first they're like, can I say that? Yes, it's absolutely okay to say that. Again, this is a container. I am a container. If I keep pouring love inside of me, then as I'm interacting with Susan, as I'm interacting with you, I can have that love come out. If I get nervous and I get worried that how am I going to do and how is this going to go and is it going to look good and so on and so forth, the nervousness comes about. And a lot of times as people approach us, without them saying anything, either way, we can tell or they can tell what state we are in because the energetic communication is taking place.
Yes.
So just like the breathing that you can do it 24/7 easily, pick yourself, I love my city, I love my family, I love my outfit, I love me, whatever you love, It could be a prayer. Just pick that and keep repeating that. We are in Santa Barbara, close to Los Angeles. Los Angeles is notorious for traffic, right?
Right.
You're in traffic, you're stuck. The thought is, traffic, bad, I'm gonna be late. Switch it to, I love me. You're thinking, think something that you like.
Beautiful. Thank you. And specifically, because the next question is, I know your third foundation is intention. So I know that when I'm stuck in traffic, and I'm in LA a lot, so when I'm stuck in traffic, and you and I were talking about it, that I am very, very clear about what time I am committed to arriving at my destination, no matter what. Time is very important. I'm always early. I mean, I've been early to everything including my birth, so like everything. And I find again and again and again that for me, I always arrive by that deadline I set for myself, which of course is an artificial deadline. So tell us about intention.
Intention simply is the idea of what is it that I want to do? What is it that I want to achieve? And if you look at your daily life, a lot of places you set your intention specifically. You go to a restaurant, the waiter or the waitress comes over and they ask what you would like, and you specifically order what you would like to have. You go shopping, you go for with the intention of buying a particular item. Maybe the intention is to window shop, so on and so forth. So a lot of physical activities, we are used to setting our intention to achieve a specific purpose.
Yes.
When it comes to us, we do not do that. When we wake up in the morning, we automatically go into a robot pilot. Now I get up, now I wash my face, now I have my breakfast, now I go to work, now I drive, without setting the intention to maybe enjoy waking up, maybe enjoy taking a shower, maybe enjoy bring the best nutrition out of the breakfast to my body.
So consciousness is a huge part of it.
Intention, gratitude. Basically, whatever you want to do. Like, here's an example. Susan and I met through a wonderful third-party friend, mutual friend, and she invited me to come over. And I live in San Diego. San Diego is about 4 hours, 3.5 hours from Santa Barbara.
Yes.
And traveling from San Diego to Santa Barbara, I have to come through Los Angeles, and Los Angeles is always traffic. When I left San Diego, I set my intention to enjoy my trip and be on time in Santa Barbara. I did not hit one spot of traffic in Los Angeles.
It's amazing. And I know you were very early, so that proves it. And you're obviously in a great mood, so that also proves it.
So even when nasty, mean, bad things happen, accidents happen, set your intention to send your love, send your healing to the people that you care about, instead of sharing of the information, which is how terrible everything was and how much damage was done, so on and so forth.
Yes.
I mean, there is a big difference between empathy and sympathy that I'm not going to get into, but setting of the intention, what it does, it focuses our energy to what direction we are stepping in. So breathing, love-based thought or prayer, setting of the intention, which brings us to
and living in a heart-based reality that you choose, that you create, versus a mind-based reality, which, unfortunately, if you look around and you talk to most people, they're going to tell you, and they're going to describe a mind-based reality. But again, if you think of the little baby, now, it's funny, I had this realization yesterday, and I must have been thinking of today's show, and I was driving through Santa Barbara, and we always think about animals being in the now. We know that, every dog and every cat and all that, we think of them being in the now. But I had just seen a baby. I'd just been in a store and there was a baby. And the baby was clearly in the now. And I was thinking about times, if a baby is hungry, they're in the now and they cry as if their heart is breaking because they don't have the ability to think, I'll get fed in a few minutes. Or if their diaper needs to be changed, again, they cry as if this is the end of their life.
Yes.
This is the greatest disaster possible, simply because they are totally in the now, suffering with a wet diaper. And so it's so interesting how we have to force ourselves back into being in the now.
What has happened is that we have practiced different ways. Practice makes perfect.
Yes.
So we have become perfect in different ways. Now, a lot of people say mind versus heart. No. The whole idea is mind and heart. There is no versus. My background, engineering, computer sciences. I have used this little guy to the maximum possibility that it has had, and it has served me well. And I am not about to let go of it because
Yes.
it has a
Yes.
lot of good experience. It has a lot of good information.
Yes.
It has done me well. I
Yes.
like it.
Yes.
All we were talking about is let's start opening this up so that we can start a dance between the two of them. If you look around you, what you will notice is that, as you mentioned, everything is 90%, 95%, 99% mind-based. Now,
In our society.
In our society.
Yes, Western.
And the reason I keep just take some of those comments in our society for granted, I'm not saying it because
Yes.
all of everything we are doing is in the Western society. What has happened is that we have practiced this guy so much that it has become the supreme ruler.
Yes.
And we have had experiences where we have been hurt. We have loved and we have lost the love, maybe romantic, maybe loved ones who have moved out of the body. And this guy has hurt and the pain has been a lot. And in the process of protecting ourselves, we have closed our heart. Okay? So what we're talking
As
about...
if that helped.
It has...
It doesn't really help for long.
What happens, Susan, is if I do something, if I close my heart, I'm thinking it's helping.
Yeah.
That's why I'm doing it.
Of course.
Right?
But, yeah.
So now what we want to do is gently, lovingly, joyfully, peacefully start opening this up and start the two of them in a dance. Here's how the dance can happen, if I may share that.
Yeah, and we'd love you to give us an example of someone who learned this from you and what the results were in their life, because that's really what's so
I will
interesting
give you a
to
very
the audience.
practical example today.
Great.
We met through the phone. My heart decided that, yes, this is a good cause, this is a good situation. Travel from San Diego to Santa Barbara and go participate in this show. Once my heart decided that, then my mind kicked in gear and figured out when, how, with what effort, all the details. So
Yes.
this heart sets the goal.
Yes.
This guy is like the GPS. Get in the car, leave San Diego at so-and-so hour, go on this freeway, go in this direction, get gas, get food, blah, blah, blah. All
The
the
logistics.
details. In the idea of a more maybe involved example, there was a lady who contacted me and she had been diagnosed with ovary cancer. And cancer is a dreadful, scary disease. So the minute she was diagnosed, she had gone into this total panic, fearful state that I'm gonna die. So therefore, she was acting everything as if she was gonna die. Now, this good lady, about mid-50s, the mother of 2 children, a good husband. So guess what was going on? The whole family environment had been trapped into a fear-based state because everybody was focusing on the undesired, which was the death of mom. So by the virtue of the same practices, breathing, and I know I'm repeating this and I'm doing it on purpose so that it will sink in. Breathing, heart-based, love-based thought or prayer, and setting up the intention with easy meditation and easy steps, we were able to get her to move away from the fear and go focus on the love of the children. The fear is there because underneath it there is love of losing those loved ones.
Yes.
The kids, the
Yes.
husband. So maybe not the husband, but the kids. So if that's the case, let's just take a shortcut and go enjoy the love with the kids. Like one example, like she was telling me her daughter, 16-year-old, is having an extremely hard time. I said, well, how so? She goes, well, every morning when I go in her room to wake her up, we end up in an argument and we have a fight. So what do you do? And she said, I go to her bed and I shake her and I said, get up. You are going to be late for school. And I said, well,
Sorry for laughing, but,
no, it's all right.
but
No,
I've worked with so many of these mothers.
Excellent.
I've worked with these mothers and I've given them new language and new behaviors. So that's
So
why
I
I'm
asked
laughing.
her, are you afraid of dying? She said, yes. I said, do you think your daughter is afraid of dying? She said, oh, of you dying? And she said, yes, absolutely. I said, okay. So she's going to be late. Who cares? if these are the last minutes or days of your life,
Yes.
hug her, kiss her, lay down in bed with her. I never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
So try it. She tried it.
Wonderful.
So on the next session,
Wonderful.
how did it go? Things had changed. The daughter had been able to switch over to less fearful state.
Wonderful, wonderful. That's so inspiring, because for this family, this changes everything.
Yes.
Now tell me, you
And
also...
she's surviving. the
Oh,
good
well, that of course, that's the best part, isn't it? That's the best part. And it's all consciousness.
news. Yes.
Healing is 100% about consciousness, and then about noticing our choices and making better choices. And I don't know if you saw the Anita Merjani section on Anderson Cooper this week. He did a whole thing about life after death, near-death experiences, and I've done a number of shows about my near-death experience. And it was so interesting. She said that when her best friend died of cancer when she was quite young, that Anita said that she spent every single day expecting that that would be the outcome for her. And so if you're living with this unconscious fear and making up these stories about fear, please either contact Eamon or contact me or someone else who works with this and turn this around now. Because this is not a habit that you want to have persist. It's not safe and it's not enjoyable, right? So you want to really take this seriously and turn that around.
And if I may add, with respect to the fear that you just mentioned, there is a golden nugget in that fear that we're going to talk about. There is something there. So if you approach it with love, yes, I said that, approach the fear with love, the golden nugget comes out. We're going to touch it and you're going to touch about it.
Okay, we have to make sure that we do that.
Yes, I believe it's one of the end questions.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay. Now,
Yes.
let's talk about self-healing, because I know that you have a background in Sufism, in Tai Chi, in Qigong, in so many different things that have, been found to have great, great healing abilities. So tell us about that, please.
Self-healing. What is healing? Healing is very different than curing. Curing happens outside. My arm breaks. I go to the wonderful Western medicine, and they are an excellent entity in knowing how to put this arm back together. They will cure my arm. I have cold, I have a flu, I have allergies. I go to the doctor prescribes medication, I take the pills help cure my allergies. Healing starts inside. The only people who can heal any one of us are self and divine. Divine has a loose meaning. You define what the meaning of the divine is. For some people it's God, for some people it's their children, for some people who are atheists is goodness, peace, for some people have different religions. So you decide what divine means. And please don't get hung up on the words. If you don't like the word, change it.
Call it light.
Anything that I'm sharing with you, take what you find useful of it and discard the rest. It's not about what I say, it's about what you get.
Yeah.
So, healing is simply about going to our natural state of being, the state of love, joy, peace, and compassion, the state of wholeness. It starts inside. I am constantly changing. Every single one of us are constantly changing on second by second, moment by moment basis. At a minimum, we are getting older. So change is happening. The question is, the point is, am I changing based on consciousness and in the direction that I want to change? Or am I changing it haphazardly?
Yes.
Am I changing out of control?
Yes.
When I get when I get angry and I lose my top and I start shouting, I am changing.
You don't do that.
Everybody does that.
Oh, well, now we have that information, okay.
Well, I'm going to get to the emotions too.
Right.
When that sort of experience happens, because see, it happens. It doesn't matter how much I was reporting. Dalai Lama was in San Diego, and I was a reporter in that event, so I was covering him as a reporter. And they asked him, do you get angry? And he just responded, ask my staff. So what happens is, when we lose it and we go in a direction that we don't like, we are changing in a direction that we don't like. We are actually diseasing ourselves.
Yeah, for sure.
The healing starts with first stopping of the diseasing and then stepping in the healing direction.
Yeah.
Think of it as driving a car.
Yeah.
You're heading north. Today I'm heading north on 5, right? All of a sudden I realize, oh, I don't want to be going 5 north. I want to be going 5 south. I can't just make a instantaneous U-turn. I have to slow down, become neutral, one left turn, then another left turn. So if I'm diseasing myself with these practices, my first step in the healing journey is to stop the diseasing process.
To wake up. To wake up. Oh, yeah. To notice
become
what
aware
you're
of
doing.
it,
Sure.
to wake up, to
Yeah.
just choose
Catch
to
yourself.
do. Remember the intention part we talked about? To choose to do differently. The healing that we teach, we have combined a variety of different methodologies, like you listed, and we have taken pieces of each one of them.
What do you take from Sufism?
Love. Love to divine. Sufism is
Okay.
all about
Okay.
connection to
What do you take from Tai Chi?
energy flow
And movements?
and movements,
Okay,
and Qigong
from
the
Qigong?
same. Yeah.
So you take movements from Tai Chi and Qigong,
Mm-hmm.
and you take the consciousness of the connection to the divine, but no spinning from Sufism.
Only if you like to spin.
Okay.
What happens
I love
is
the outfits.
there are a lot of practices which are wonderful, but when I'm sick, when I'm ill, I may not be able to do
For
it.
sure, for sure. Yes,
You know,
for sure.
so
In fact, thinking about it is making me.
go in circles. So if you can spin, yes, that's one form of. See, meditation is really not what you do; it's how you are.
Yes.
So there are many different forms of it. So we use that form, the meditation, to go to the state of meditation. The value is in the state of love, joy, peace, and compassion, not how I get there.
Okay. Now you have said when we were speaking that clearly each one of us has a purpose. Each one of us has a divine purpose. I think there's nothing more valuable in human life than when somebody gets clear about that. You know, that the biggest aha moment of all.
Yes.
You know, and that we have spirit guides. And speak to us about that for a bit, if you would.
The general understanding is the common understanding. I'm a physical being on earth, and I'm trying to reach the spiritual level. The truth of it is the exact opposite. Every single one of us are a spiritual being. We are energy-based beings.
Yes.
Having chosen to have a physical experience.
Yes.
In the process of making this choice and coming here and being born, we have picked who we're going to come with, where we're going to come with, how we're going to come, and for what specific purpose. A defense mechanism, a protection, a safety mechanism that comes with physical life is forgetting a lot of these decisions as we come to earth. Because remember, if I believe that I'm a spiritual being having physical experiences, well, every time that I came, maybe I got murdered. Maybe I had really heavy experience. Maybe I killed somebody.
Yes, certainly.
So if I come with the burden of all that, it's too much to handle, and I'm going to fall apart upon arrival. So the divine protection is that I'm not going to remember these things. And I'm going to make choices. We have free will. We have the power to choose.
But the purpose of life, tell us
I'm getting
about
that.
that. Okay.
So as I make my choices, as I do the practices, what I'm here to do comes back to me. The very first purpose of life is to enjoy the physical life because you came here, you volunteered to come.
Okay, so you're not speaking about each person getting in touch with his or her divine mission and purpose. I see. So it's a different.
What
it's
happens,
that
remember,
we share this purpose of life.
every single one of us are unique. So
Yes.
maybe for me, my divine purpose, life purpose, is to get in touch with my higher self. But maybe for you, you've come to help others, serve them through whatever trait that you bring. Maybe somebody has come to cause disaster and chaos.
Oh yes,
and
no, I certainly understand
So
that. Okay,
everybody
so then I
has
have a
come-
different question.
Please.
Thank you. So, because I want to make sure that you're able to answer as much as possible in the time we have today. So, is there something you wanted to say about spirit guides and getting in touch with people's individual guides? Was that something that was important?
Every single one of us, we have come with a team of helpers. Our physical team is our family, then later on our friends and people that we associate with, and not all of them necessarily on a common nice base. Sometimes when we go butt head with somebody, maybe they're trying to get our attention to something that we need to be paying attention to. And we have also come with a team of higher vibrations, ascended masters, angels, guides, ancestors out of body, so on and so forth. So with simple practices, once I open myself up for the information and the connection to come, it all comes in.
Yes.
And
Do you have an example of someone who you taught this to and it really changed his or her life by having that experience? Maybe you have an interesting story about that?
I do. It's a little bit on the heavier side. It has to
But
do
not another
with,
disease.
No, it has to do with moving out of body.
Okay, good. We don't want disease. Death we accept, but not disease.
There was a young man, great man, at an early age who became ill and went through the battle with the physical body, and at some point decided to move out of body. The last 6 months of his journey, he was able to come to complete peace with being here. He was only 32 years of age. He was able to come to complete peace and understand that it is not that he's being shortchanged. It is that he was so advanced and so efficient that he achieved what people achieve in 70, 80, and 90
Yes,
years, he achieved
yes.
in 30 years. And he
Beautiful.
moved out in complete peace. And the young
Beautiful.
man's still around.
Beautiful. Thank you. That's and I trust that his family was clear about this and didn't mourn, as one might mourn with great grief at the loss of a 32-year-old.
This young man, his name is Amir, and he's part of our family who has moved out of
Ah, so
this
you're
has hit
obviously
very close
you
to
understand.
home.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you for
Yeah.
telling me that.
So-
Okay. Now you've told me that there are 3 categories of energetic beings,
Yes.
and this is so interesting to me. So please share that with us.
There are 3 categories of energy within each being. Iman, Susan, all the good listeners. We have the energetic category of heart and soul. We have the energetic category of intelligence and advancement. And we have the energetic category of ego and survival. The reason we have 3 categories is because we need the combination of all 3 to live this physical life. When we come into physical life, we are gifted with the energetic category of ego and survival. The ego and survival, a common expression for it is fight or flight, right? And a lot of people think or believe ego is a bad thing. No, ego has specific purposes. If I don't have any ego, I probably don't have any self-worth, and I will let everybody walk all over me.
Yes.
Each one of these, and then heart and soul, loving, caring, so on and so forth, intelligence and advancement moving forward. Now, what happens as we live our life and as we interact daily, we are acting out of one or more of these energetic categories. The best way I can describe this is donations. You approach somebody and you say, Mrs. or Mr. so-and-so, would you like to donate to this cause? If that cause, whatever the cause is, has hit home and they're in touch with it, the energetic category of heart and soul pops right up, says, here's my donation. Maybe it's money, maybe it's time, maybe it's skills, whatever it is, they donate. The energetic category of intelligence and advancement, if I'm acting out of that, it pops up and says, oh, donation. If I donate, I can write it off on my taxes, and that's a good thing.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to do that.
Yes.
So it writes something. The energetic category of ego and survival, and please forgive me if my examples are silly, I'm just trying to make this very simple. The ego and survival goes, oh, how much did so-and-so donate? And they donated that much, okay, I'm going to match it or I'm going to surpass it. What happens is that the fact that I am donating is a good thing. It's a good gesture. And if whether I did it out of heart and soul, ego and survival, or intelligence and advancement, I'm still doing a good thing. What changes is the quality of that goodness. When I'm doing it out of ego and survival, I'm doing it on competition. When I'm
Yes.
doing it on intelligence and advancement, I'm expecting a return.
Yes.
So if I don't get my tax write-off, now I had just set myself up for becoming disappointed.
Yes.
When I do it out of heart and soul, I'm just doing it because I want to do it.
And you know what's so interesting about what you've said, because you use the example of a nonprofit. So the really big nonprofits, and I've volunteered for a lot of them over the years, they have to operate on all three levels simultaneously. You know, now you and I are
Absolutely.
founders of small nonprofits, we don't have to. But for the big ones, that is exactly the way they operate. So it's an all of the above rather than a one or the other.
And you know the aha
Yeah.
moments that we have?
Yeah.
We do something over and over and over and over
Yes.
again, and
Practice
all of a
makes
sudden,
perfect.
you go, oh, I get it. That's when the shift happened from intelligence and advancement, ego and survival, to the heart and soul. That's when it really clicks. And once we do something out of that aha moment, it can never be taken away.
Okay, now thank you. You said something about healing equals balance.
Yes.
And I think that you've also described that healing equals balance within each of these three different energetic
Categories.
categories, is that what you call it? Okay, so tell us
My
about
hats off
that.
to you. You have learned so much. You are asking such beautiful questions. I
Well,
love
I'm
it.
really
Thank you. Thank you.
interested in what you're teaching, so thank you.
3 energetic levels and energetic categories. Imagine 3 levels. 3 levels that can move up and down. So here's
And they're
Iman.
parallel.
They're parallel. So here's Iman. And I have one level describing my heart energetic category of heart and soul, wherever that's at. And then I have another one for ego and survival. And I have a third one for intelligence and advancement.
Okay.
And most of the time, these 3 are not at the same level. There is one higher, one lower, one in the middle. When we talk about balance, the normal thing and the idea for the beautiful brain is to think, oh, I have this one too high, so let me grab that and bring it down to the level of this other one, which is lower, and grab the third one and bring them all down. What we can do, the alternative that we have, is whatever is high, grab the other ones and take them up. So when you're talking about balance, you don't have to reduce anything. If I'm really brainy and I have spent ages and a lot of energy getting my PhD, so on and so forth, the minute you tell me forget what you know, you're done. I'm not going to do it because I spend so much getting there.
Yes.
But if you say keep your intelligence and advancement and raise your heart and soul and ego and survival, you say, ooh, that's still a state of balance, and it's balanced at a higher level. So
Yes.
it's appealing.
Yes.
And that rides right back into the idea of whatever I have inside of me, whoever you are, love that being. Don't, like, if somebody has told you you have too much ego, which you're told at times, okay, great. Now I can grab my heart and soul, intelligence and advancement, and push it up. If somebody has told me I have too much heart and soul, and I'm letting people walk all over me, okay, great. I grab my ego and I grab my intelligence and I raise them up instead of trying to become a mean person.
Wait a second. please don't make changes because other people complain it to you, please.
Absolutely, absolutely.
thing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I did. Thank you for that clarification.
'Cause I'm
I didn't
sure
mean
you
that.
wouldn't want
no,
them
no,
to
no, no.
do that.
I was just using that as an example on
Yes.
where these levels are.
However, if you find, or you find that you really need to be more logical and more, practical, or you find that you really need to be more heart-centered, then
Excellent catch.
that's
Thank
it,
you
right?
for catching me up.
Because I know that's what you
Yes,
meant.
absolutely. And here is a very excellent example of the interaction. There are times that we say things that they come out differently. If that happens, please don't take out your bat and start banging on yourself or the
Or
other
them.
person.
Right.
Put that bat down, give it a chance, just correct it. It's, remember, like the interaction here, it's based on love, it's based on joy. There is no, it doesn't have to be harsh.
Right. It's all cooperation at the end.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now tell us about your one-on-one sessions, because I'm sure they'd like to know more about it.
Well,
And you said it's 3 parts. Everything's 3 parts, right? So it's spiritual, meditation, and physical exercises.
well, we have a spiritual, the body, the being that we have. We have a physical body. We have an emotional and thought body that involves our beautiful organ, the brain. Are you repeating your mantra? Are you breathing? Please, thank you. Okay. And then we have a spiritual body. Well-being comes out of having the 3 of these guys all in balance and in peace. Now, everybody's different, everybody's unique, everybody has different challenges or success stories in their life. So when they come for conversations, for assistance, for help, there is really no one formula that I can take and apply to everybody, because
Right.
most of the time it's just not that simple. So the thing to do is, and you can practice this even with yourself, all you have to do is just grab your beautiful cell phone, turn on the recorder and start talking. I ask them, what's going on? What would you like to work on? And the trick will be not to censor ourselves. What comes, especially if you're doing self-awareness and self-healing, if you're grabbing that phone, do it in private, and whatever comes, just verbalize it, just talk about it. As they talk, as they say things, clues come that which area they would like to work in. Which areas they need to work in, because sometimes they might just totally be ignoring it.
Right.
So what happens next is that I don't start analyzing and talking about it. Healing Pack and the teachings that we have, as I mentioned earlier, the majority and the main emphasis is on doing, not talking. Like, this is the most that you will hear me talk, because the purpose of this meeting is to talk.
Yes.
So what we do at that point, we go into meditation. And in the course of the meditation, by the virtue of picking the love-based thought, they will most probably pick the one that is good for them or they need to do. If they don't pick it, I kind of gently guide them in that direction. If they come along with it and if they agree with it, so be it. We start working on that. If they resist it, and sometimes they do, honor that resistance. That simply means I'm not ready to go there.
Sure.
Okay?
Sure.
So if I'm not ready to have a glass of water, even if you take the water and pour it down my throat, I'm not going to enjoy it. Right? So go into meditation, calm yourself down, calm the body down, and this is what we do in the meditations. And what happens at that point, remember we talked about our friends out of at the higher vibrations, they're all there. So they start sending messages and clues and do this and do that. And sometimes, I'll be very honest with you, I have said things and I've done things that I don't know why I did it or why I said it, but after that we did it, the person said, oh, what you said there meant blah, 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 blah. And this is not because I am so wonderful. No, I'm just an average man like every other person. This is because their guides have come in and they have helped us. What we are doing in these sessions through, we talk about the self-healing classes or the even self-healing that you can do off of the website. what will happen is the guides, the help, they guide you in the direction that you need to go. All we have to do is just open ourselves up, opening the heart, and receive the message. A key factor is not to expect too much, not to set the expectation.
At any one moment.
At any
But
one moment for
cumulatively, it's all
yes,
miraculous.
the progress happens.
Yeah.
See, what happens, we are in a society that we like instantaneous stuff. I see commercials for, you can have your food in 15 seconds. Like, really? Do I want it? So we are used to that instantaneous response
Yes.
and result.
Yes.
Well, if I'm not ready to go there, if I'm not ready to experience that, say my ego is too strong and I'm over egotistic, right? If I'm not ready to see that and you tell me, Iman, you have too much ego, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to take out my bat and I'm going to start.
And that's why I would never say that to anybody.
Exactly. So as these things happen, let it go gradually. Let go of your expectations. Enjoy the moment. Enjoy the breathing. Enjoy the calmness. And what happens, we have, there is a Healing Pack has been recognized as a top award nonprofit organization. And there is a on the web page, there is a site for top nonprofits that they collect
Wonderful.
reviews.
Wonderful.
So you can go there. There are like 60 plus reviews of people who have actually experienced things. We have a testimonial page, so on and so forth. There is a lot of information. You can go and see what people have experienced. Because everything that I say,
Beautiful.
well, it's going to be biased because I'm saying it. You know, I love this stuff. But when people put it out there,
Yes.
so be it.
Now, thank you. You spoke about the healing
Yes.
that each of us can generate or promote directly with the divine
Yes.
without any other humans engaged in the process, whether they're, you know, Western doctors, Eastern doctors, or any kind of energy workers, just you and the divine. And I think that you have some technique that you'd like to talk about. Is that correct?
When help is always good, number one. Practicing Eastern methods, number one, does not mean excluding or moving away from Western methods. A little while ago, my heart was having issues. I was the first one at the doctor's office and checking into it and making sure that physically my heart is doing
But what
well.
is this actual technique? Because we just have a few more minutes.
I'm
so
sorry.
what is that technique?
Basically,
If you would.
open your heart, set your intention to ask for the healing, allow for the sensations to come in, allow for the changes to take place, and be guided on what to do, what not to do. The messages that come to you, and they don't always come through loudspeakers from higher above. Sometimes friends share them, sometimes you see them on signs, so on and so forth. See the messages, consider them. You don't necessarily have to do them. Just consider them. Start practicing things that you like as opposed to things that you do not like. Put your focus, law of attraction has talked about this too. Great deals, and it's absolutely true. Put your attention and focus on what you want to attract. For example, I may give an example.
Please do.
A lot of people are looking for love, right? You want love?
Well, they believe they do.
Fall in love with life itself. Instead of going looking for that man or woman or whatever it is, fall in love with your life, yourself. Practice loving yourself. Energy attracts like. So when I'm caring and acting out of love for me, people who see that, they get attracted. People who don't like it, they just move away, and that's just fine. There is no good or bad, they just belong to some other place, or I belong to some other place.
Thank you. And I think we have time for maybe 2 more questions. So we have to ask the question, I have to ask the question about the golden nugget. Now, I would prefer if you don't use disease as an example, and I'll tell you why. Because in our world, we are bombarded with television programs, movies, and other people. Instead of speaking about the joy of life, the bliss of life, the ecstasy of life. They're speaking about the other stuff. And so on this show,
You would like us
I
to
don't
do that.
need any more of that. You know, if they want that, they can watch CNN. So give us a golden nugget story
Of course.
that is going to be really inspiring. Okay?
Good viewers, did you notice she just put her attention on the desired instead of the undesired? That was a fantastic example of it. Okay.
Thank you.
We have emotions. The emotions that we experience, there are guiding tools. When the emotion surfaces, it is trying to get my attention to something that I need to become aware of, whatever the emotion is. If I allow myself to experience the emotion, the underlying factor, the underlying golden nugget of that emotion comes up to the surface. Chances are I'm not going to like it. But the very exposure of that thought, of that idea, of that feeling, of that sensation is the first step in the healing process. The healing, again, can be physical healing, emotional or thought healing, spiritual healing. When you go to the doctors, the wonderful Western doctors, what happens? The very first thing they ask you, what is the problem? They're trying to find
Exactly.
out what is going wrong, right? Because Western medicine is disease focused. Here we are becoming health focused. So as I experienced, we talked earlier about anger.
Yes.
Not anger. The other day yesterday, I found out a dear good old man of young age moved out of body. The emotion of sadness came out. And I was in an excellent shape. I was doing a lot of stuff. But the minute the sadness came out, because he was young, he was only 56, I stopped everything. I sat and I allowed myself to be sad and miss him.
Yes, sure.
And once that happened, I recognized that it is happening so that some deep emotional wounds of myself may be released.
I so thank you for coming today. I wish we had
for having me.
another hour, you know? And everything that you've said has been so informative and so interesting, and more than that, coming 1,000% from your heart.
Thank you very
So
much.
I really appreciate it. And thank you everyone for watching the show today. And thank you to everyone at TVSB, Matt and Dominique and Mark and our crew, our fantastic crew, Jared and Tyler. And next month, I am thrilled that Mirabai Devi is going to be my guest again. And please make sure that you figure out how to record it if you're not able to watch it at that exact moment as she leads us into a deep, deep meditation. You'll want to see that and share it with your friends. Thank you.
Thank you very much.